All right, y'all. Welcome to Skill 21. We made it through Annie Skills. Also, welcome to class on Tuesday. I wanted to start today going over the rewind. For the first one, this goes all the way back to Skill 9. We're looking for the line that goes through these 2 points, okay? First thing we have to do is we have to figure out what the rate of change, what our slope is, how steep the line is between that. Remember, slope is rise over run. We have x, y, and x, y, right? Rise is the difference between the y values. Run is the difference between the x values. It doesn't matter which one comes first as long as they match. -5 goes first, so 2 has to go first too. -5 minus 4 is -9, and 2 minus -1 ends up being 2 plus 1, which is 3. So our slope here is -3. Okay, that's part of the math. We still have a little bit more to go. We want to find the equation of the line, or y equals mx plus b. So we're going to take that m, our slope that we found, and plug that in, -3. And then we just have to pick one of our xy pairs, this one or this one. It doesn't matter which one you pick. I'm going to do the first one. Our x is -1, so I'm going to plug in -1 right here. Our y is 4. When we solve this, -3 times -1 is a +3. And then this becomes a pretty quick equation for us to solve. Take away on 3 on both sides, and b is equal to 1. 1 is not my answer either. I've got all the pieces of my answer, though. Remember, I want an equation. So when I write this thing out, my final answer here should be, and I'm sorry, I'm running out of room, y equals, and our slope is -3x, and then our y-intercept is 1, right? So that's how we would graph the line that goes through those 2 points that I just gave you. Okay, cool. We have one other thing that I want to take a peek at. The second question goes way back to skill 5. 14 Honeycrisp apples cost $12.50. How much would 10 Honeycrisp apples cost? You could solve this problem a few different ways. I would solve it with a proportion, right? Fraction equals fraction. We just need to make sure our units match. So 14 apples cost this much. 10 apples cost this much. We don't know that value yet, but this problem becomes a pretty quick cross multiplication. 1250 times 10 gives us 125. 14 apples times x gives us 14x. To solve this one, we just have to divide both sides by 14, right? And we end up with our value, $8.93 for those 10 apples. Okay, cool. So let's keep grooving. We got a couple things we're starting with on skill 21 today. Today is going to be a little bit of a review because we need to make sure that everybody is working with the same vocabulary as we get going. So I need your boat books out. This is skill 21. We're talking about data, okay? So the page, I want you to set it up a little different. Start a new page, enter this in your table of contents. And the table today, your left column, right column, we're still going to be doing the same sort of notes, but these numbers, I want them at the top because for each one of these values, we're going to write down a definition, and we're also going to kind of calculate the answer for each one of these, okay? So hopefully you guys have seen these words before, but I did want to spend today going through and just kind of making sure that we're all fresh, okay? So mean, hopefully you remember, is just the average. Okay, and in order to find the average of a group of numbers, hopefully you remember we add them together and divide by how many? Add together, divide by how many? Okay, so in this example, we've got 5, 12, that's 17, 24, 34, 47, and 54. Okay, is what we get when we add them all together. And then we have to divide by how many numbers we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to divide that by 6. Okay, so if I grab my calculator, 54 divided by 6, we end up with 9. Okay, so that means that the average of this whole group of numbers is 9. Okay, median, we're just going to keep clicking here. Median is just the middle number. Okay, so if I look up at the numbers that I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have to find the middle of that group of numbers. So the way I like to do these is to put them in order. So the smallest number is 5. And let's do this over here. We've got 5, 7, 7, 10, 12, and 13, okay? And when we find the median, we're just gonna cross off numbers from each side until we get to the middle. Boom, 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 oh, boop, 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 boom, boom. And what we're left with is 7 and 10, okay? When we have two numbers in the middle, there's not one middle number, so we have to find the number that would be exactly in between 7 and 10. You can probably do this one in your head, or you can do another quick mean with these two. 7 plus 10 is 17, divide that by 2. The median here is 8.5. Okay, mode is one that we're not really going to use very much, but it is a good word to know. Mode is just the most often. Okay, and so what number do we see the most often up here? There's only one 5, only one 12, only one 10, only one 13, but there's two 7s, which means that that's the number that shows up the most often. 7. All three of these are what are called the measures of center, okay? So the mean, median, and mode are ways that we can look at the middle of a group of numbers, okay? Range is a little different because it doesn't tell you about the middle of a group of numbers. This is what's called a measure of spread. There's another one called standard deviation that you'll get to in other math classes, but our measures of spread for this class, we're just going to be dealing with range, and that just tells us how far apart the biggest number and the smallest number are. So all we have to do here, let's see, let's write that in. It tells how far our biggest and smallest number are. Okay, and so for this number set, our smallest number is 5, our biggest number is 13. All we have to do is 13 minus 5. Our range here, our measure of spread, tells us that these numbers are spread out by 8 different values. Okay, so make sure you have these notes in your notebook. If I were you, I would also kind of split them up with little lines so we keep them nice and separate. And again, make sure your table of contents is up to date. Okay, cool. So hopefully all of this is review. You should have seen all of these vocab words in previous math classes, but I wanted to make sure that we had a good sense of them because we're going to be using them quite a bit through the rest of Skill 21, and we're going to be kind of building off of these ideas. Okay, next thing we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys a quick task. This is one of those open middle problems, and it's a little challenge. I want you guys to kind of mess around with this, see if you can figure out what numbers or where you need to plug the numbers 1 through 9 in so that the numbers across the top give you an average or a mean of 5, across the middle give you a range of 5, across the bottom row, median of 7, right? And then we're also doing columns. So this first column, this first column has a range of 4, median of 8, mean of 4. Play around with this a little bit. See if you can figure out where the numbers 1 through 9 go in this little table so that all those conditions are met. All right, I'll see you in the next video.